Hi, I'm Tom Landon. The program you're about to watch was recorded live at the historic Grandin Theater in Roanoke. Since we started the Echo channel, we've made every effort to record as many Hoot and Holler storytelling shows as we can. If you appreciate seeing programs like this one and the fact that we make them available online and on demand to a global audience, I hope you'll consider supporting Blue Ridge PBS by becoming a member. These programs aren't cheap to produce, and we're actively seeking underwriting to support the recording, editing, and distribution of Hoot and Holler so that we can continue to make these heartfelt and personal tales available to those who are unable to attend them live. If you'd like to learn more about sponsorship, please drop me a line by email at tlandon@blueridgepbs.org. And enjoy the show.
Blue Ridge PBS and Echo present Hoot and Holler, a live storytelling event recorded at the historic Grandin Theater in Roanoke, Virginia.
At the start of this year, I had to have a serious conversation with my girlfriend about another in my life that I wanted to prioritize. I shared that while I was dedicated to continuing to be a supportive, loving, engaged partner to my sweetheart, that I also wanted to intentionally deepen my relationship with dance. Dance, you might be wondering, that's healthy. Everyone should have some hobbies outside of your significant other. This is a good thing to have, and you would be right, except for dance for me is not mere hobby. Dance for me is a passionate love. And when I think about the amount of time and energy that I want to spend on it, the amount of money that I might want to put towards it, the way that I want to plan my day-to-day and life around it, dance is most certainly a partner to me. And loving dance has been like loving many multiple partners over time. First, there was swing, my high school sweetheart. Swing and I, we were innocent, young, love. We would spend afternoons in the science classroom after school listening to big band music. Then there was salsa. We met at the Artful Dodger, a dive bar in my college town. And salsa, the music, it was love at first sight. Salsa twirled me, held me close, moved me, and made me feel ways in my body that I never thought possible before. The connection was undeniable. I think bachata and I started out as friends. Then it blossomed into something more. Salsa and bachata and I, we got all along great. Like the kind of polycule that goes out for drinks and bar food together. Bachata loved and was so passionate about their traditions. And this was something that they shared in common with salsa, both being African diaspora dances. And yet, bachata also loved modernity. Bachata was sensual, fierce, fiery, and fun. What was that? Did I ever go study with merengue? Well, no. I knew people who did, but merengue and I, we were more like besties. We loved to party. Kizomba, Kiz, has been another wonderful dance lover. A beautiful, grounded, gentle dance from the African coast of Angola. Kizomba, we had to start doing some pretty tricky calendar coordination with salsa at the time. Something that my ex-fiance struggled to understand or support. And this Kiz, we needed time and space for this relationship to grow. And so we would schedule these weekly meetings together to get to know each other. And we called these lessons. And I highly recommend them. When Kiz introduced me to Zouk, I was intrigued. Meeting Zouk, I felt like I was meditating. I was in a Zen state. Now, to be honest, I never quite felt the same thing for Zouk that I found with Kiz and salsa. But what I did find was the absolute conversion of seeing my wonderful friend, fellow dance organizer and co-conspirator, Ophelia Camelot, bliss out in the arms of Zook and continue to share her love and passion for Zook with anyone she knows in Roanoke and beyond through her community, Zookumi. And then there's tango. I originally met what I thought was tango at visiting my cousin during a milonga in DC. A milonga is where anyone who falls in love with tango goes to hang out on a Saturday night. The air was thick and steamy with the sounds of the bandoneon transporting us to the streets of Buenos Aires. Hey, I saw tango in the room, heard tango singing, but I didn't feel tango because it was sexual assault. Tango was not this man's hard groin pressed against my crotch, nor was it his locked arms around my body, the smell of his sweat and cologne, teeth bared in a smile, reminding me that I had 2 more songs in the tanda before I could escape. I told myself it was my fault, that I should have said something. I made excuses, told myself that maybe it wasn't real, forced myself to forget. When you love someone and they hurt you, it can be so hard to actually believe that harm is happening. The National Domestic Violence Hotline says that it takes, on average, survivors 7 times before they'll actually leave. The level of harm, abuse, assault, and bullying that dancers, primarily women, people of color, folks with disabilities, and queer folks deal with on the dance floor is widespread. And yet, we keep dancing because we love dance, because dance is our right. We are love-struck. I have to tell you that part of this story is that I have experienced something non-consensual in the arms of every dance genre that I have come to love, even salsa. And yet, it was never dance itself at fault. It was people who abused dance for their benefit, their power, and that is simply not love. True love is something that allows us to be in the fullest, most whole expression of ourselves. When I came out as gay in 2018, I felt the difference on the dance floor, and it was painful. I would show up to classes, and teachers would say, men on this side, the leads, and women on this side, follows. And all of a sudden, my girlfriend and I, we had to make a scene in order to be able to dance with each other. If I wanted to learn how to lead, I had to explicitly advocate for it and express my desire to do it. Otherwise, it would just be assumed that I would follow, which was most convenient for the men learning in the room. Of course, none of this made any kind of safe space for trans or non-binary dancers to exist. And so it might not be surprising that I did not meet many queer people in Roanoke's dance scene, and those who I did meet, we almost all could pass as straight, cisgender folks and were perceived as such. This was circa 2018. But just like in relationships, we find our boundaries. I learned that as a woman on the dance floor, I have agency and I have my own creative expression. I refuse to act as an object or a prop for anyone's will, especially not any random guys. And if we have respect for each other, my gender or yours has nothing to do with our ability to enjoy dancing with each other on the dance floor. I support dance organizers who are proactive about preventing violence on and off the dance floor, who take time to talk about consent and bodily autonomy in their lessons, because we have to practice that in our teaching space if we want to find it in our play space. I give my money and my time to instructors who are going to be inclusive and create spaces for all bodies and all dancers. When we know ourselves, eventually we will find the people who will not only respect us, but truly love us and celebrate us. One of those people to me has been Marina Trejo, owner of Dream Dance Studio. And Marina, I would like you to come out if you don't mind. This incredible powerhouse of a human who never once questioned my desire to lead and only challenged me to find my purpose. She encouraged me to perform on stages, to lead, to perform in same-sex dance partnerships, to not be ashamed of ever showing my queerness off to the world. When I wanted to create a class for trans and queer dancers, I came to Marina first, and she didn't bat an eye. She simply said, how can I help make this happen? And we did it. Dream Dance Studio became my dance home, the place where I could fully be myself, be loved, and not just tolerated. Thank you. When someone sees you completely in your wholeness and loves you, entire new worlds are possible. That first queer bachata class turned into Queer Dance Roanoke, a community of queer dancers and allies who are learning to love to dance in Southwest Virginia. And as I researched ways in which dance spaces were being created by and for queer folks, it also led me to something unexpected. I came back to tango. Queer tango. Y'all, queer tango! Woo! I have fallen madly, obsessively, keep me up at night, in love with queer tango. Which brings me back to the reason that I had to have this important conversation with my girlfriend for having space in my love life. About a year and a half ago, meeting queer tango opened up my eyes to a world of dance that questions anything that doesn't serve our bodies and our wholeness. Argentine tango is historically rooted in marginalized peoples. It was the dance of slaves, of workers, of immigrants, of sex workers, and queer folks. It was popularized and whitewashed into European and American ballrooms. It survived the dictatorship of the 70s in Argentina. And in the early 2000s, Argentine tango was reclaimed by its queer dancers. And queer tango was born as a way to challenge gendered rules about dance and expression, to encourage anyone to dance with anyone as they are. Queer tango is a practice of taking what you learn on the dance floor into the real world of relationships. How you can hold your own balance while simultaneously leaning on others and being supported. How can you move with someone else in partnership while also being a part of something together in the round or circle of community? I love the cultural richness of tango, the preservation of its music and tradition, as well as its evolution. I love the sound of the bandoneon, the crooning of singers, especially transgender Argentine singer Susie Schock. Queer tango, and more broadly queer dance, is growing all over the world. Without immigrants and the histories of liberated Black people, these dances would not exist. And despite transphobia and homophobia, despite violence and harm and threats, queer dance is growing out of the deepest love for ourselves, our community, and our dance. Love and dance are our resilience, making life worth living. I am grateful to have such a wonderful girlfriend that has respected and supported my love life with dance. We still make compromises, and our Google Calendar is our best friend. But she and I in dance all get along, whether it's dancing in our kitchens or out in the world. My wish for everyone here tonight is to have the experience of loving someone or something that will love you back so fully. And if you ever want to go out on a date with dance, make an appearance with dance, just let me know. I set up people with dance all the time.